This is me, Shruti, and I'm here with Nikki. And first, we're gonna start off with our initial thoughts. Nikki, would you like to go first?
Sure. So I was going through both films, My Left Foot and Temple Grandin. I will say that I had very passionate feelings about My Left Foot that were not particularly positive. Um, but I did find it interesting in contrast with Lawrence Carter Long's article on, let me just pull the name up again, specifically, Disability Cinema's Next Wave, Observational Agency Subverts the Ableist Gaze. In that kind of breaking down of the term cripping up, along with other representations of more progressive disability representation in film. I found that very interesting. Reading kind of how, specifically the focus on My Left Foot, there is so much that about that film that boiled down less to representation and less about Christy Brown as a person, and significantly more as a appealing to Oscar bait. So, in my opinion, Daniel Day-Lewis was primarily using that role not to bring awareness or even historical context to this person, but just to play around with somebody else's way of living in a way that he could take it on and off, and it was very disrespectful to me, and kind of made me want to shoot it into the sun. Temple Grandin, I thought, was less abrasive, and it was a gentler film. I don't think it felt like quote-unquote disability inspiration porn or cripping up nearly as much as My Left Foot did. And instead, it seemed to be more representative of the ups and downs of someone's journey instead of a romanticized, sensationalized struggle to make the able viewer feel better. But I think that both of them could have their pluses and negatives. That's kind of my loose overview. Shruti, what are your thoughts on it, on both films?
I agree with you that, like, the Daniel Day-Lewis, like, My Left Foot, it kind of did seem like it was to, like, contrast, like, him as a real person and then, like, his performance. And I think having that contrast, it can, like, objectify, like, the person with the disability. But I also think it's interesting because I think both films, they do kind of a good job in showing the complexity of the disability. I think they both, I think there's a tendency to romanticize people with disabilities, and, like, by romanticizing them, you might also, like, infantilize them. So I think, when there are moments where they're, not feeling the best and showing that kind of complexity, I think that was really important. I think I really also, what I liked about Temple Grandin was kind of like, instead of, like, having the non-disabled, like, audience view someone who's disabled, they kind of were able to show her disability through kind of, like, non-diegetic images, and, like, they were able to show her kind of literal thinking that kind of can happen with people with autism. So those were kind of my initial thoughts as well.
Okay. I do appreciate the point you make regarding the lack of romanticization in both. Because even in My Left Foot, as much as I have very negative feelings about it, it did do a good job in showing, one, how the unique ways in which cerebral palsy can reframe engaging with life. And it also showed the struggle of Daniel Day-Lewis representing Christy Brown, that you can tell this is a smart guy. Like, this is like from the start, but the struggle of him trying to communicate to people outside of his mind that there is someone in there. And you see it in all the little ways, and he's engaging with the community, his friends, his family, trying to draw, trying to write. So there was here's the way he is being infantilized, is such a good word, but it was shot from an angle that shows a little bit more focus on that he wasn't just defined by what he could not do. And
right.
I think, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just agreeing with you because I thought it was interesting because in the beginning of the film, like, the first thing that they showed were his skills and, like, his talents. And I thought it was interesting that they presented that first and then kind of presented, like, maybe his struggles growing up. I think sometimes, I feel like sometimes people with disabilities, they might get reduced down to their disabilities, so I think it's nice that they're trying to, like, highlight his talents as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do agree with that. I am curious about your thoughts. This was something with Temple Grandin. I didn't want to be looking for things to be upset about, but I also wanted to be aware of as much as I could. I don't know if in real life Temple Grandin had a blind roommate, but I'm curious what your thoughts are from a viewer perspective. Like, there was not necessarily a character. Temple Grandin of that film was the main character. She was not there to make an able-bodied character look good, and which is something I really appreciated. Do you think either of these were considered, though, as, like, disability inspiration porn or cripping up? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like I'm most, like, really interested because, like, you brought up that one article earlier talking about how, like, movies with roles, like, in My Left Foot could be, like, Oscar bait. And I feel like that also could be kind of, like, inspiration porn because, like, people might, like, praise actors like Daniel Day-Lewis for, like, being able to play a person with a disability, and that kind of gets more focused on than, like, the actual person with a disability. And also that could further kind of, like, reduce them or objectify them because it's more like they're reducing them to, like, a type of character and, like, not to, like, somebody that could actually, like, exist in their life. So I think in, like, seeing how the actors treat outside the film and how that could contribute to inspiration porn, I feel like I can see that with My Left Foot.
And that is something that I found very interesting when we were talking the other day about how does the actor treat the role off screen, and how does the actor respond accordingly off screen? Like, what was the motivation for the role? How did was it like oh wow, it must be so hard to be like this person, I'm going to see if I can do it? Or was it just I am deeply appreciative of this person and I would like to honor them with my portrayal? Like, those are two very different things.
Right.
And that was something I hadn't thought of before. So I really appreciated you bringing up that contrast of the person off the screen contrasted with their performance.
Okay, thank you for listening to our podcast. Tune in next week.